guys? Welcome to Find Your Fortitude. I'm going to redo that. Get this started here. Record. All right. So this is Find Your Fortitude. I have no idea what I'm doing. I really don't. But I wanted to do this because, wow, everything's just a mess here. Let's just record this. We don't need the hat. My hair's fine enough. Okay, I'm gonna start for this. All right, find your fortitude. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while because I wanted to reach a lot of people with, fortitude in their mindset and staying positive. It's a very difficult thing to do. One of the things I'm most proud of is last year when I did my 30-day Change Your Mindset Challenge, and I did 30 straight days of motivational videos, which is not easy. It's not easy to be positive every single day. I'd be a liar if I said I was positive every day. It's very tough. And the only reason I'm doing this podcast right now is because everything is just like going... It's not even that it's going bad or going wrong. It's just crazy. It's just, I'm in limbo. It's not the easiest of times. I don't know where I'm going to be in a week. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, Life's just crazy. And so with Find Your Fortitude, this is a podcast or a video series. I don't even know what this is exactly. This is just me because I've gotten a lot of messages and questions and feedback about my mindset and how to handle certain things and how I've gotten through certain things. So this is me talking about how I've gotten through losing my parents, getting bullied, my weight loss transformation. And this is from how I get through things. So if I'm talking and I'm trying to help you get in a positive mindset or look at the world in a different way, change your perspective, and you're like, well, Mark, you don't know what I've been through. Okay, I don't. But you don't have to listen to this. This doesn't necessarily need to help you or put you in a worse place because you think I'm crazy, or the last thing I want to do is make this worse. And it's a very sensitive time because every word you say is criticized, and it's hard to speak from your heart anymore because you're always pissing somebody off. And how I've gone through the loss of my parents, especially my mom, the way I describe it, I catch myself sometimes, and I think this is why I've never really talked about it, because I could see it really upsetting people and like putting me in a way that I'm not, or look, it's hard to explain. And this is very hard to explain. And originally I was just gonna do this on one take, but I feel like I need to edit this. Cut this random stuff out. It's crazy, like I'm driving to the gym. So here, let me just explain my day and why Find Your Fortitude is finally getting started, because I haven't slept well in 3 days. And I know my body and I know myself, and it doesn't matter what my diet is, what my nutrition is, my workouts, whatever's going on. Like I sleep like a baby. I've slept horribly these last 2 days, and I don't even know what the definition of depression is, or being depressed or sad or upset or anxious. I think it's just there's a term for everything, and there's an exact definition, and I don't even know. But I woke up this morning and I'm like, fuck. So I'm just like, I have a million things to do. My app is out and I have a huge challenge starting on Monday, and I just need to answer emails and go through this and do that. And starting this or doing a video was the last thing on my list. But I just started driving to the gym, and for the first time in a long time, I just felt peace. I just felt peace because I was finally able to just, it's not necessarily stop caring, but I was able to change my perspective on things. And I just went to the gym. I listened to one song on repeat, Guts Over Fear, which is a phenomenal song. And I'm going to touch on like how Eminem's helped me, which is just crazy because people just think of it as all the bad lyrics and how could that help you, but that's getting away from my point. And so it was just finding peace. And I read this quote, I don't know who said it, but if you're feeling depressed, let me start over. If you're constantly looking at the past, like living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious. If you're living in the moment, you're at peace. And when I read that and I was more aware of my thoughts, it makes so much sense. So I haven't been at peace in a long time, and I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think when you're trying to, life's just crazy, and just things come up, things happen, there's no book, there's no right way to live your life or go through situations. And that's a big reason why I'm not going to sit up here and give you financial advice, how to start your own business, because I'm still working on that, relationship advice, because I'm still working on that, how to excel at school, because didn't do that. But I am going to share my experiences for my mindset and my perspective and enjoying life and looking at the best things and just trying to be positive, because this world needs it. Especially teenagers and high school kids and middle school kids. And it's a very scary world. With the bullying and the cyberbullying, and it's a lot of people don't know where to turn, and the people who should be helping them are just in denial that it's an issue. Not everybody, of course, or they just don't want to address the situation, because then you're admitting that there is a problem. And when you admit there's a problem, you're admitting that you're not doing everything you can, and a lot of people can't do that, and it's crazy. I've done a few talks, speeches where I've been at schools, and the kids, for the most part, like, they can relate. I'm 10 years out of high school, so they can relate a little bit, and they're living it. And I don't know exactly what's going on in the high schools, but for the most part, I do. But the teachers won't listen, or they won't accept it, or they won't even acknowledge me for the most part, because I'm basically saying they're doing a poor job, because they are. And nobody wants to hear that. It's just like a bad personal trainer. If their client gets hurt, or if they're not getting the results, it's because you're a bad trainer. You need to change what you're doing. People can't take criticism. It's very hard for people to take criticism and want to grow. One of the things that I do a lot, is all about self-growth. And this started, and I'm far from perfect. There will be weeks, months where I'm just in a bad mindset and I don't focus on it. There's a lot that I'm going to be touching on and talking about, and I know a lot of people are going to start listening to this or just take a peek at this because of Big Brother, and they see how emotional I am. I'm really not that emotional, because of everything I've been through. I'm not emotionally numb or damaged, or I just handle things differently. And but there will be things that I talk about that I will probably get emotional about, because it touches close to my heart, and I see it affect so many people. And I want to help more people. And I love the fitness because it's my passion, it's what helped me, it's my rock. Whenever I have an issue, the gym helps me, and it just puts my mind at ease, and everything's gonna be okay. It's hard to explain. If you have that in your life, you know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, there are so many kids who don't have that, for one reason or another. And it's very tough to see. It's very tough to know that it's such a problem, and so few people are doing anything about it. And I've always wanted to share my story since Big Brother. One of the biggest things people remember from the show, remember from me, especially when I got out of the house and the show was so fresh, was my conversation with Josh. And this is why I started this with, if you haven't been through what I've been through, or if you've gone through different things, you can think I'm crazy or I have no idea what I'm talking about, or you can't relate to it, and that's fine. But it was when we were talking about Josh, his issues at home, and I'm like, man, dude, it's just like, that's nothing. Like that's just crazy, because you're going home to that situation. I mean, it's not an ideal situation, but I'm going home to my situation. My situation is still, I lost both my parents before I turned 18. And when you put it into perspective, it's just like, damn. But the thing is, a lot of people, especially people who haven't been through something, people that life hasn't hit them, and I mean knocked them down to where you're just like, what? Like, you can't, like, words can't explain it. And it's tough for them to realize perspective, the perspective that I'm talking about. And at the same time, it's hard for me to understand their perspective, because I'm so distant to their mindset with their issues. Because to me, my issues the issues that I've been through are kind of more severe and permanent to other people. So it's like when I talk about just go through it or change your mindset or just deal with it, then there's people that think that I'm insincere or that I can't relate. And that's the thing right there. I can't relate. Like, if you're listening to this podcast and you just got a ticket or you just got in a little fender bender and you're like, my life is over, I can't believe everything bad happens to me. I have no idea what the hell goes on in your mind for you to think that that's the worst thing that could possibly be happening. Or like the people that are just, nothing goes my way and this and that, and it's just, I can't relate to you. I hope I can help you, but so I can't relate to that. Just the best example is me doing fitness. I love it. I'm not helping, my main thing isn't helping people gain weight, gain muscle. That was never my issue. Doesn't mean I don't know how to, it just means I haven't been through that, so it's harder for me to relate. That's why my huge thing is weight loss and mind and body transformation. And it's tough for a lot of people to change your mindset, and I mean, I guess that's just a relationship thing that is something different, but so that's a little bit about, so find your fortitude, right? Now that we're 12 minutes and I have no idea how this is going to be. It's another thing. I'm not the best speaker. I never loved public speaking. I hated it, but when it comes to something that I'm passionate about, I love it because I can see the reactions in people's faces, and I'm touching. I can touch on something where people are like, wow. And the thing with self-growth and a positive mindset, there's no magic formula. There's no secret. There's no like sentence or there's no book you can read where it's just like, I've never heard of this before. Like, I need to try this. At least for me, because everything that I read is just like so obvious. Just think about the positive things. You go to the gym, work out, eat healthier, treat your body right, be nice to people, write everything down, plan it out. It's just, it's little things that add up, but once you hear it, it just clicks. Like I said, like the one quote that stuck with me is, if you're living in the past, you're depressed. If you're living in the future, you're anxious. And if you're living in the present, you're at peace. And that is one of the best feelings that I've ever had. And today, with everything bad going on in my life, and I say bad, like and things that are going bad, that's just relative to different people. It's the peace. And I want to try to bring peace to people who have no idea what it is. And I said I was going to do a video series but podcast just reaches more people. So as soon as I learn how to edit sound, I'll get the podcast out. But thank goodness for YouTube, I can release this today. But I said I was going to talk about losing your parents and how to get through it and how I got through it. And it's so tough to just generalize because it's different for everybody. And I'm going to be very honest, and I'm sure I'm going to receive, if people even care, receive hate or just give me just negative thoughts because the way I phrase some things. But it kills it. But here's something. It kills me to see grown-ups, adults, lose a parent, and they make excuses for it changing their life, not like years after, like, because again, I can't relate to them because my perspective is I lost my mom before I turned 18. So I had her for 17 plus years. And I'm not making an excuse. Like, I'm not being a shitty person or just being miserable and trying to pull everybody down around me because I lost someone. So I guess let me rewind to that. Whenever I talk about like my loss, I talk about my mom, losing my mom before I turned 17, which is weird because I lost my dad when I was a kid. But I was 6 or 7 or something. But I never really put that as like up there as a loss for me because my mom did such a good job. She was my entire world. So I don't know why it didn't affect me as much, or maybe it has and I don't deal with it right. That's what I heard somebody tell me, that I haven't dealt with my anger or I haven't dealt with losing my parents. And I love when people give you opinions. And that's the last thing that I want to do is give you opinions. Like, I don't want to give you my opinion on how to deal with things because, again, it's pain and loss and mindset. It's relative to everybody. But at the same time, which is after my mom passed away, I mean, life's a bitch. And I mean, people say that for a reason, especially older people that you're around and you, maybe you understand it, maybe you don't. But just sitting around and asking why you, or why is this happening to me, it's tough for me to see because for the most part, people that ask why me or that are just so negative about the small things, they haven't really, like I said before, life hasn't hit them yet. So they think everything small is just the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, it's crazy. And a lot of speakers that I really admire, they kind of talk about it in a different way. They talk about people who have been sheltered. And you can use that analogy for sheltered from whatever you want, from pain, from hardship, from hard work, whatever it is. But it's just like, if you've been like from the world, if you've just been sheltered in the sense like you're just kind of living under a roof where nothing really bad happens, and then you walk outside and it starts raining, you're freaking out, like, what is this? But if you kind of grew up in the rain, I mean, you're fine with it. So then it gets a little windy, some hail comes in and like, whatever, it's just getting, like, it'll go back to the rain, like, it is what it is. Like, let's just get through it. But see, and this is even hard for me to talk about because, again, it's so relative to people about how they go through things. So I guess the best way is, how did I go through it? Well, I went through the loss of my dad at a young age because I had the best mom in the world. I did, and I'll say it to the day. I'll say it till the day that I die. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how I turned into the man that I am. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. But the way she raised me, the mindset that I had, especially seeing other people's mindsets and seeing how people handle different things, She was a very special woman. And when I lost her, I lost my entire world. She was my best friend. Like I said before, I was bullied as a kid, and she was everything for me. You know, I had friends, but she was my best friend. I hated school. I just hated school. And she was my teacher. You know, she would help me with classes and stuff, and she got more mad at me for not putting in effort in sports than she did school. And I think she definitely coddled me. I was definitely sheltered in the sense, like, I was a mama's boy. And she just did everything for me. She just made me feel, like, safe. And especially for a kid, especially for somebody who's being bullied, that's priceless. And there's so many parents out there, and this is a big reason why I don't, that whole respect elders thing, just respect elders, because there's so many shit parents out there. I mean, just awful freaking parents, that their kids need them, but the parents just aren't there for them for whatever reason. And, but that's another topic. So she was everything to me, and there's few things that I remember like it was yesterday. And one of the things is there was a football camp my senior year, or going into my senior year, but it was in Wyoming. And I was living in Denver at the time, and this was probably like junior year, probably the beginning of my junior year. So it was at the end of the year, football camp. And we were talking with the coach, because I wasn't that great at football. Like, I wasn't anything special. I was just a big boy. So, hey, if I actually learned how to do it, I'd be pretty good. But I'm like, I'm not leaving. Like, even if it's just 2 weeks, like, to leave my mom, like, to go to Wyoming and stay away from her for 2 weeks, even though I'm 16. I was 16 at the time, maybe. Like, that's insane. That's crazy. That's never going to happen. That was my mindset. Like, I was such a mama's boy. Okay, so take that. A couple months later, find out she has cancer, and a year later, she passes away. Life hit me so hard. I guess I didn't really have time to think about what just happened. And I didn't have. I was very fortunate that, you know, my grandma was there, my aunt, and I went back to Buffalo with all my family. That's the true reason I went to Buffalo. I tell everybody I went back to Buffalo to play football, but I couldn't play football, or at least I could have attempted to walk on anywhere. And my plan was to walk on at CU or CSU, or even go to Air Force. But me being a mama's boy, that probably wasn't happening. So I was fortunate in that sense. But this is what separates people. This is where mindset comes in. And now that we're 22 minutes into the podcast, this is where perspective changes everything. Maybe I was upset and sad. If I was ever mad, if I was ever truly mad at the situation, I was mad that she had to go through that. And she had a few sicknesses where, you know, she had to have surgery, or she didn't have she wasn't the healthiest person, where like, I watched her struggle through surgeries, through sinus infections, and it was tough. And so if I was ever upset or truly angry, I was angry that she had to go through that. Such a good person had to go through that. I didn't have to go through anything, and I didn't really go through anything. Like, I lost a parent, but everything she went through, it just blows my mind. And her perspective, I mean, being a single mom. So when we left Buffalo, because after my dad passed, it was just, you know, it wasn't the ideal situation for whatever reason. I was a kid, but she just wanted to raise me on her own terms. And so a single mother just lost my father and moved cross country. She drove herself. It was just, looking back, it's just incredible. And I definitely got perspective and mindset from her and positivity. And all the things she went through, she never was upset. She never took anything out on me. She was never miserable. She was never mad because she was a single mother. She was never mad because she didn't have support. And so I was never mad that I lost my parents or my mom. It was really just my mom. I was never sad or upset at that. I was thankful. And this is hard for me to explain to people who don't have perspective, because I was thankful that I had her for 17 plus years. Just under 18 years. My 18th birthday, I spread her ashes. And so I was thankful that I had her for 17 plus years. And that's how I got through it. That's how I get through it today, because I was closer to my mom than most in 17 years than most people are with both their parents in an entire lifetime. And that's just from what I see with just being around different people and listening to how people treat their parents or talk about their parents, or just me as a kid and seeing how kids were raised. And I am so thankful. My mom was everything. She still is everything to me. And it's not that I'm not sad about it, because I do get sad, but if you've lost somebody and you're sad about it, and you're sad in the sense because they meant so much to you, you're a lucky one, because there's a lot of people that they could lose somebody that they've just taken for granted their entire life, or that it wasn't that good of a relationship, or that person really wasn't there for them, even though they were a parent or a family member, they didn't treat them like it. And if you're upset because you didn't have the relationship you wanted to, that's something I can't relate to that, in the sense, like, you just need to look at the positives, and you have to figure out what that is. But for people who are struggling with losing parents, be thankful that you had them for however long that you had them. Like I said, a lot of people don't have that relationship, so where if they lose them, they're sad for another reason. They're not sad because they really meant something to them and they were there for them. So if that's why you're sad and upset and angry at the world, that's a good thing. But now just learn how to be thankful for it instead of pissed off. It's very easy to walk around this world in a pissed off mood and take your anger out on everybody, because it's such a negative world. It's very easy to be negative and be sad, and misery loves company. And especially with social media, which I was unaware of until about 2 years ago when I got off of Big Brother, and just being surrounded by social media, it's such a negative place, and people can't get away from it. So just be thankful, no matter how bad something is. If it's bad, and I say if it's bad, then there must have been something good that came from it. Be thankful for the good. And I understand that there's some bad situations where there's no good that comes from it that you may think. And again, I can't relate to that, and I can't tell everybody for every situation how to be positive, because there's no formula. There's no magic weight loss cure. There's no magic mindset cure. It's just a constant battle. It's a daily battle. For me, it's a daily battle to stay healthy, to stay fit. The biggest battle is to stay in a positive mindset. So this was one of my goals in January, was to get this out and start a podcast and kind of help people, because I wanted to do more speeches, especially in high schools with kids, but I mean that only touches so many people. But with how kids have access to their phones and everything, hopefully I can just touch a few kids to the point where they don't have anybody in their life that's telling them it's going to be okay. But I'm telling you, if you just get through it, it's going to be okay. And the best thing you can do is find that thing that you're passionate about, or that one thing that just takes your mind off of everything. And don't let anybody take that from you. Whatever it is. In high school, I knew it was the weight room. I was one of the strongest kids. I was fortunate enough to be, it made me feel good. It gave me confidence. And that's been my go-to. And then when I lost the weight, it gave me another form of confidence and perspective on a weight loss and mindset journey to where I wanted to share and help people. So find your fortitude, I guess, now that I'm wrapping up the first episode. if this gets released. I think it will though. But the fortitude. Find your fortitude. It's funny because before I went on Big Brother, I started a YouTube channel, The Fortress of Fortitude. And it's like from Superman, the Fortress of Solitude, but I love fortitude. And a lot of people don't, like I tell them the name, and they don't really understand it. And it's because they don't understand fortitude. And fortitude is my entire life. If there's one word to sum up fortitude, if there's one word to sum up my entire life, it's fortitude. And it's basically, doesn't matter what's happening, doesn't matter what's happened, doesn't matter what's going to happen. You're going to be okay because you're going to get through it. You're going to get out on the other side and everything is going to be okay. A lot of people have no idea what that means. Like, if something happens to them, it's the end of the world. Why me? Why this? I'm pissed off. Damn. But fortitude, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just, whatever happens, happens. Like, bring it on. You know, it's just one of my favorite videos, one of my favorite quotes is, you're either in a storm, you're coming out of a storm, or you're about to go in a storm. You, like, don't fight them. Like, just, don't hope, don't hope it gets easier. Hope you get stronger. All those cheesy quotes, as cheesy as they are, they're true. As soon as you get that strength and that fortitude to the sense where you're not worried about all the bad things that are happening or the bad things that are going to happen, you will make it through it. It's your choice. Don't put it on anybody else. If you want to change, if you want to change your perspective, if you want to change your mindset, it's not going to be easy. You're not going to be perfect. I'm far from it, especially with my mindset. I have a lot of negative days. But overall, I know it's on me. I don't put it on anybody else. So if you hold it to you, and that's just like complete accountability, another subject. But my mission, my goal, my hope is to help just one person find their fortitude, which will change their life. May even save a life. It's a very scary world. And, it's a shame. And all you high school kids, it's because I've gotten messages from you guys for being bullied. Guys, it's going to be okay. I'll talk more about being bullied. For people that have lost a parent, I can't say a loved one because I've just lost a parent. And so be thankful. When you stop the bitterness or the anger of losing somebody you loved and just being thankful that you had them, it changes your life. And that I can promise you from experience. Just try it. Instead of being angry all day, every day, or whenever, or even if you're not, even if you, for the most part, you are positive and you just don't know how to get through the bad times, just relax. Take a deep breath. Think about all the good times you had. And know you won't have those times again, but it doesn't mean those times go anywhere. They're always going to be with you. That person will always be with you. And me just talking about it, like, I thought I was going to get emotional with it, but I'm at peace because I know my mom's with me. And man, it's been 10 years. And it feels like just yesterday. But if you change your mindset on things, it changes everything. Just be thankful. You're sad for a reason. Think about all the good times. And hopefully that helps. But anyways, this is Mark. I'm trying to help you find your fortitude. More is to come. It's just going to be on YouTube for now until I figure out how to edit audio. But find your fortitude, episode 1 in the books.